Hello students, Java programming course, Unit 1, third chapter, control statements in Java and video 5 of Unit 1. And we know that Unit 1 contains 3 chapters. First chapter we made of 2 videos, video 1, video 2. Second chapter, data types and operators. Data types variables we formed into one video, video 3, and operators, video 4. And now control statements in Java and video 5. So by this video, and we complete the unit 1 of 3 chapters completely. And these are the topics going to be covered in unit 1 of chapter control statements. The first one is introduction, Java selection statements, iterative statements, jump statements. Coming to the introduction part, here Java program control statements can be put into the following categories: selection statements, iteration and jump statements. And selection statement means here it allows our program to choose different paths of execution based on the outcome of an expression or the state of a variable given in the expression. So here it is very important. This selection statement allows us to choose the path of execution based upon the outcome of the expression. We will see how it can be used. And iteration statements, these allow us our program to repeat one or more set of statements as a form of loops. We also see these type of statements here. The third one is jump statements. It allows our program to execute in a non-linear order fashion. It allows program to execute. Next one, Java selection statement. First one, it supports two types of selection statements. If statement and switch statement. So first we see the first one, if statement. Here if statement in Java is a conditional branch statement. Here this statement contains one condition that it can be used to route the program execution through two different paths. So we show you in a syntactical format here. The first if statement contains the condition. If this condition is true and it gets the Boolean value as true, then it performs this part of execution, this part of statement of the program. And whereas coming to here, if this statement is false, then else it executes this part of program statement. So here it is the mean of using this if statement with else, and if statement contains a conditional branch statement. Based on this condition, it branches the execution of a program using with this set of statements formed in a if statement. And this is the flowchart for to understand first if condition. First test the expression of this if statement. If it is true, then we go execute the statement following state representation. Or if it is going to be false, then it automatically go to the other parts of statement in the program, and finally it goes to execute remaining part. So this is the simple flowchart to understand if statement. And we have another version of this if statement is nested if. Nested if statement. A nested if is an if statement that is the target of another if or else statement. So see once the expression of here, outer if statement, inner if statement. So one if statement contain inside of another if statement, that is called nested if statement. Here if expression, first if expression, some statements, next another if statement. So this is the one in if statement contains inside of another if statement, inside of another if statement, that is nested if. So we can also design some flow of execution of programs with this type of declaration of the statements. And this is one simple example of understanding nested cases. So if I equal to 10, this is one if condition statement. If this I value should be equal to 10, then only it checks this condition 2. If j less than or equal to j, then only it assigns a equal to b. And this is another if statement. So like this you can give some nested if statements with the following else statement also. So this if condition statement is this one, and this else belongs to this case, and this else belongs to this if case, and like that. So here it is the relation between if and or else statements. Coming to another version of this if statement is if else if ladder. Coming to if else if ladder statement, here it continuously having if statement, if condition, then if else statement, then else if statement. Like that we are having some statements continuously. So it considered as a ladder of if else if statement. So here it is simple flowchart for this if else ladder statement. So when one condition is true, then it goes true based statement or false statements. When again we are having true condition and false condition, and true condition and false condition, like that. And finally we are getting this if else ladder if. If else ladder if. So this is considered as if else ladder. And again we are having inner if condition, inner if else, like that. And this is one simple example program to understand this if else ladder statement here. So inside we have the string given like if month equal to 12, month equal to 1, month equal to 2, that is winter. Else if that is the case, here it is clearly telling that when month 12th 1 2, if 3 are not equal to month, then it goes to else if statement and it checks month equal to 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it is the month, that completely gives a springer month. If else, if it is not the case of this case, then we use again nested this else if ladder. Here it gives 6 7 8, that is summer month, or if else case here, or if else case here. So like this we can give this if else ladder if to indicating that the sum of month, either it may be a season of the month, winter, spring, summer, or autumn, like that. Coming to another selection statement is a switch statement. Here this switch statement is Java's multi-way branch statement. So right now we saying up to now if condition if statement is a conditional statement, and whereas this switch is a multi-branch statement. So here it provides an easy way to dispatch execution to different parts of our program based on the value of an expression, based on the value of our expression. So see here, whenever this switch expression given, it checks for the cases where this expression value matches, and there too it switches, and there it dispatches the control of execution to take a part of that particular case given in the switch block, like that. So see this syntax here. switch expression. If this expression makes a particular value, if that value is belongs to this case value, this part of statement sequence will execute particularly right over there, and it breaks the statement after completion. When this expression matches to the value of this case, then this part of statement will be executed, then break. Like this, it repeats for some of the cases of different values you can wish to give in a switch block, and later it has one default statement sequence set for indicating that if expression belongs to not given any value of case given by the user, and it simply switch to the default case to execute the statement part of the program. In summary of this selection statements about the switch case, there are three important features of switch statement are to be noted here. The first one, switch differs from the if in the switch can only test for the equality, and whereas it can evaluate any type of Boolean expression. It expresses any type of Boolean expression. That it means which case it checks for equality, is the value given in an expression is belongs to that particular case or not. It checks Boolean case. Okay, that is switch looks only for the match between the value as it is, and the expression given value, that value it compares with the cases of the given case blocks of the switch block, and expression when it can case constant. Then second one, no two case constants in the same switch can have identical values. This should be very important to be noted here. In switch case, in this switch block, the case blocks should not have same identical value, should be different. Of course, a switch statement and enclosing outer switch can have case constants in common. When we have a nested switch cases here, then we may have a common case constant values. That is a quite natural in the thing. A switch statement is usually more efficient than a set of nested ifs. If it is, because nested ifs give somewhat clumsy in the nest case condition checking, but here it is. Switch case usually gives more efficient a set of nested if cases in the possibility. Next one, coming to Java iteration statements. So this iteration statements. So the most iterative statements like for loop, while loop, do while. These statements create we commonly call loops. We call these as loops. First thing, while loop. This while loop is the most fundamental loop of the Java statements or Java language. It repeats a statement or a block while its controlling expression is true. So this is based on the condition syntax given here. It is a while and condition. If this is condition is true, the body of this loop will be executed, otherwise it simply skips. Example of this while loop. So here we take this. I have a variable n and initialize it with value 10, n equal to 10. When n value greater than 0, that it is condition is true here. Why? Because n is value 10 and should be greater than 0. Then it simply clicks that tick is a n value 10, and it increments, and again this loop going to repeated process. So here the loop indicates that it repeats this part of code when that condition fails. When it is true, it repeats the code of execution, the block of code it repeats, and when the condition fails. Until then, that's why the output, if you observe here, it takes the value first 10 and it decrements 1, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 0 at it gives the false condition of the expression of the while, then it terminates the execution part of this block code of the while condition. Next, coming to no body while loop. Sometimes we may doesn't have body to this while loops. Just to understand that one, here it is the simple example given. Here, class nobody, public static void main. I have two variables I and j. I is initialized with 100, j is initialized with 200. So when applying while I plus plus less than minus minus j. So both are prefix forms. So here it is 101 and it is 198. So both the condition is true, and until it gives the condition, then so it goes to do the repeat of same when it becomes true until it becomes false. So it repeats the same increment decrement. And the purpose of doing this statement of execution using while condition, here it is, find the midpoint where it stops the condition and where the condition becomes false, there that is the midpoint of this two, midpoint of this two. So here particularly nobody given to this while loop here, but it simply performs the same operation until this condition fails. So that is the midpoint. So finally it breaks at the point 150. When it becomes I value then 150, then it simply terminate the loop. So this is a simple understanding of the block of while loop without body loop or body of the function of the body loop. Coming to next loop, do while. Here syntax of this do while. This do while always executes its body at least once because its conditional expression is at the bottom of the loop. And we know this loop from C language very well. So that is the syntax given. Do body of loop, then while condition here. Each iteration of do while loop first executes the body of the loop and then evaluate the conditional expression. That is the thing we know that. And if this expression is true, then the loop repeats again. And if this condition is true, then the loop again go to do and do the same for one more time. Otherwise the loop terminates. Where then condition terminates, the loop of execution will terminate. Example of this do while loop. Here coming to n equal to 10 and do, first it display the n value, then decrements and then checks the value comparison with this condition n greater than 0. So it's a reverse process of doing the same in the previous example. Here. Coming to Java iteration statements, another one for loop beginning with JDK 5. Specifically from this JDK 5 onwards, there are two forms of for loop are given. The first is the traditional form, and we all know the for loop from languages C and C++. That is in use since the original version of the Java. The second is the new, that is for each form. Both types of for loops are discussed here, beginning with the traditional one. And we all know the general form of this traditional for loop statement is like this. For loop with initialization, semicolon, condition or iteration, that is possibly with increment or decrement like that we generally use, and the body of the loop with the scope. So this is for loop statement. For each version of the for loop. So for each style, loop is designed to cycle through a collection of objects. This is important to understand. This is mainly to a sequence of operation, and collectively we form here such an array generally holds in strictly sequential fashion. As I told you that it do the same process of the for loop, do it naturally. The same way it performs in a collection of objects in the same way as did the array, strictly in a sequential fashion from start to finish. And we'll see the type of syntax used for this for each. So for loop, type iteration and collection, and semicolon operation in between we use this here, and statement of block to execute. And we'll see the example part of this one. Coming to here, for each version for the loop. Generally, we have given an array of elements. Nums is an array, and I have an elements of 1 to 10 here, and I have a variable sum equal to 0, and I'm adding the sum of given values from 1 to 10. 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 4, what that is doing. So by using this for loop, it can be easily performed. For int I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. It simply sums the given array one by one element to the sum variable here. So it performs the same operation. I can write the same code but using for each here the same way. I have the two array, nums array and one variable. And if you observe the statement here, so this x variable collects the values from this num array starting to ending, and it performs this statement for the result. So it sums the value one by one x to the sum value, and it is. This statement of expression gives an alternative version to this traditional form, and it works, both works the same. Next one, coming to iteration statements, nested for loops. Like all other programming language, Java allows loops to be nested generally. Allows loops to be nested, while loop or for loop or if condition switch, whatever it the condition of statements, and that Java allows to be nested. That is, one loop may be inside another. What it mean of nested means one loop may be inside another. For example, here is a program that nested for loops. So here I have this part of code specifically performing this nested loop. One for loop inside another for loop. We are displaying this pattern of the dots. So like this, it display output like this. So I loop equal to 0, I less than 10. That what it means is, first it goes for the rows value. So rows value, how many rows it gives? 10 rows. And how many columns it can take. So first row 10, next row 9, next row 8, next row 7, like that. Here it 10 dots will be displayed, and here it is 9 dots, 8 dots, 8 dots, and so on to the 1 dot. So like this it display the nested for loop statements here. Next one, coming to Java's jump statements. Java supports 3 jump statements: break, continue, return. And these statements transfer control to another part of your program, where we are executing one part of your program, and this statement gives a transfer to the control to another part of our program. That is the simple usage of this Java statement, jump statements in Java. Using break in Java, the break statement has 3 uses. The break statement has 3 uses. The first one, as you've seen, it terminates the statement sequence in a switch case. Generally, we use this break statement in switch case, where after it performing a case of set of statements, after it immediately breaks the uh, flow of transfer control. Second, it can be used to exit a loop. When we use this break statement, in any loop, when it encounters at the control of execution, it immediately exits from a loop. Third use is, it can be used as a civilized form of goto. So break in the sense civilized form of goto. When we use this break statement, it stops there and go to particular part of another program where it executed. Using break to exit a loop by using break statement, as we already discussed this one, we can force immediate termination of loop as it is possible, bypassing the conditional expression. And generally we have loops like this case, and any condition given here. If this condition is true, then this part is will execute and this part is execute. By using this break statement, any inside of this case here, it completely bypasses this conditional expression. It simply comes out of the loop. So this is also one of the uh, statement about this break statement. Then coming to here, when a break statement is encountered inside a loop, the loop is terminated and the program control resumes to the next statement following in the loop. So that is also the same I explained here. This is break loop example. So here I have a for loop for this I equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus, and I equal to 10 break the loop. That it means terminates the loop if I equal to 10. Clearly mentioning here the break statement. So we are printing I value. So 0 onwards it's going to display. When it becomes 9 and it compares with 10, then loop completed and it comes out of the loop. Why? Because I equal to 10. It doesn't display the value of 5. Next one, coming to continue statement. Sometimes it is useful to force an early iteration of a loop. Early iteration of a loop. That is, you might want to continue running the loop but stop processing the remainder of the code in its body for this particular iteration. So when the iteration comes in the use of this continue statement, it continues the part of code to be executed. That is, in effect, a go to just part of the body of the loop to the loop's end. So that is the use of continue here. The continue performs such an action generally in the case of using this continue in the loop. Example here, for loop I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. When I equal to 4, it continues. When I equal to 4, it continues. So it simply display the I value. So 0, 1, 2, then here. When it is 4, it doesn't go to this printf statement. It simply continues the loop logic applies. Okay, it simply applies the continuous procedure for I++, not displaying this one. It doesn't go to this display statement. Okay, that is the use of continue, and it uses to repeat the same doing this one without any condition based. Next one, return statement. The last control statement is written. Here it is. The return statement is used to explicitly return from a method. So here that is, it causes program control to transfer back to the caller of the method. So it is to understand this one. See here one simple example program given. See here, boolean t equal to true before the return. If t nothing but here it is t is nothing but true, then it return. It return to the caller again. It return to the caller again, and it last statement. This statement will not be executed because it returns to the caller again. So that's why it simply displays the only statement of given here. It is before the return. Before the return. After return, it doesn't go any type of execution. Okay, this is the use of return statement, return control statement, when it causes program control to transfer back to the caller of the method. And these are the textbooks where collected sources of information of this one, and Java one step ahead, the complete reference 8th edition, and these are the e-resources and reference books we collected. Thank you.